It's a super summer blockbuster extravaganza. We're talking about all the video games based on the summer blockbusters.
And action.
Today on Judgment Day, we're taking a look at X2 Wolverine's Revenge for the PlayStation 2, Finding Nemo for the GameCube, Enter the Matrix for the Xbox, and we're looking at the games based on the Incredible Hulk. We can't talk about summer blockbusters without talking about the enormous movie game integrated project called Enter the Matrix. This one's from Atari, and it's developed by Shiny Entertainment. We're talking about it on the Xbox, but it's also available for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and PC. What'd you think of this one?
The thing that hits me about this game is that it's not really based around the movie. It's a whole other new storyline that is supposed to run parallel to the movie. Now, some people may think it's cool, and I've been reading a lot of interviews with the Wachowski brothers about the game.
Wachowskis.
And them too. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I think it's a lame excuse for not being able to play Trinity or Neo or Morpheus.
Lame excuse.
You don't play the Spider-Man game and play Mary Jane, okay?
I was disappointed. I have to be fair and square here. I was disappointed by the fact that you couldn't be Neo and that you weren't able to sort of take on the role of the main characters. But it's cool that the Wachowskis took a part in the development of this game. I mean, they actually sat down and designed the story and worked with the game designers to make sure that their story was told through the game. They saw that video games have as much merit for storytelling
we commend them for that.
as the movies do. Unfortunately, the game is littered with so many problems and disappointing elements. It doesn't live up to the expectation at all.
I think this is what happens when movie people try to write a video game. I mean, leave it to the game designer.
Even the cut sequences with the filmed bits that the Wachowski brothers actually put together for the game, some of those come off a little bit cheesy.
Captains.
Captain Niobe, my crew and I appreciate what you did for us back there.
How is he?
He's alive. Happy to be alive.
Let's get going, because you know Morpheus is not going to show until after we get started.
I agree. I don't like us all being in the same place for too long. Why don't you tell us what this is all about, Niobe?
The machines are digging.
I didn't go to the Matrix
for the
movie
dinner scenes.
For the dialogue, all right?
I got you.
I went there to see action stuff.
I thought they really did a poor job with the driving scenes.
The running animation.
Yeah. It's a little berserk, isn't it?
What is that?
Well, how about the climbing up the ladders?
How does that go?
I didn't like the fact that the camera angles were a little bit wonky, and it feels more like the world is rotating around your character than you're moving the camera and running in different directions and stuff.
That's the single biggest problem in the game is the controls, especially on the PlayStation 2, where your strafing is on the top buttons, and it's not like every other PlayStation 2 game out there like this where you have the control on the right joystick.
On the Xbox, you actually fire your weapon by pressing the little black button. And that little tiny black button is just not something that you need to use, especially when you need to shoot as much as you have to in the game.
Now, the actual moves and motion captures in the game,
this is the fun part.
aside from the asinine running and climbing the ladder animations, the actual fight sequences...
This is what saves this game. This is what makes the game enjoyable. The fighting, the hand-to-hand sort of combat stuff that you get to do, the gunfire stuff.
At any point, you can go into bullet time mode and kind of run up the wall and go into slow-mo, and the sound slows down. Awesome. It gets really cool, and you can flip off walls and pick up guns and do somersaults. And you know what I liked in the game was the hacking system, which I thought was unique, where you have to actually know a little bit about DOS.
They're smart game designers at Shiny. They've been doing this for years and years. They know what makes a good game. Unfortunately, it's sort of the presentation that sort of undoes the experience here. I can only give this a 7 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7.5. On the positive side, the motion captures and action sequences are really well done. We love the hacking you can do in the game, but even more so, we love the bullet time slow-mo mode.
On the negative side, the animations are kind of flaky, especially running up ladders. Major control issues, way too complicated for an action game like this. And probably one of the most major complaints is the fact that even though it is a parallel story, playing Ghost or Niobe just isn't as fun as Neo or Morpheus. All right, let's switch now from the dark sort of action world of The Matrix, and we're going to head over to the colorful underwater scenes of Finding Nemo. This is from THQ for the GameCube, but it's also available for PlayStation 2 and Xbox.
Time for school! Time for school! Time for school! Time for school! Whoa!
The Pixar movies, and Finding Nemo is definitely, one of the best. They always appeal to an older audience as well because there's lots of levels of comedy and there's lots of really amazing artwork and design that goes into these movies.
It's one of those games where you just get in, it's simple to control.
Right.
You're not doing the same thing over and over again, you got these little different missions. Sometimes you're following fish, sometimes you're in a race,
right.
Other times you're bouncing on sponges and things.
They've done some interesting things with the perspectives on the game. It's more of a 2D game than anything else, a 2D with 3D objects all over the place. But there are places in the game where you're swimming into the world or swimming towards the screen or towards the audience this way. There are some places where it does feel like an Echo of the Dolphin style 3D kind of explore type game.
Right.
But there are also lots of little puzzle challenges, and you'll find that the fish have to grab little colored rocks and drop them onto appropriate little puzzle pads, or give a pearl to a clam or something like that.
The lighting is cool.
The lighting is really nice.
The surface comes through and it lights up the coral.
You don't get all of the actor voices from the film in the game voices, but they sound close enough.
They sound pretty similar.
See, I suffer from short-term memory loss.
Short-term memory loss. I don't believe this.
No, it's true. I forget things almost instantly. It runs in my family. Well, I mean, at least I think it does. Where are they? Can I help you?
What was up with those loading screens, though? That's what I want to know.
That's the biggest problem with this game.
3-minute loading screens. You know what would have made the loading screens better?
What's that?
Nemo's on the screen when it's loading. If he was pooping, that would have been fun. See, because I would have sat there for 10 minutes watching the fish poop.
I'm going to give this game 7 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7 as well.
On the positive side, the graphics in the game are very close to the source. Really nice looking stuff. The action transitions from 2D scrolling pieces to pseudo 3D action adventure kind of stuff. And the interaction between all the fishy characters is kind of fun, especially if you're a fan of the film.
On the negative side, the loading time was absolutely horrendous. Although there are a lot of different things to do in this game, it's really skewed to a younger audience. Sometimes it's a little unclear on what your objectives are.
Well, that's it for The Matrix and Finding Nemo. When we come back, we're going to take a look at X2, Wolverine's Revenge.